Has Josh Allen entirely turned the page from his ex-wide receiver, Stefon Diggs? Has Stefon Diggs entirely turned the page from his ex-quarterback, Josh Allen? I suppose we'll find out if we hear from Stefon Diggs before Sunday's Texans-Jaguars game. But this was after the Bills win Monday night, 47-10, over the Jaguars. Josh Allen talking about guys who aren't all about the stats.
Paying dividends of what we've worked on throughout the entire offseason and through training camp of the everybody eats mentality. And again, it could be your play, this play. You never know when it's going to happen, and that's the beauty of it. When guys get to buy into this and really understand, like, I may not get the ball 4 or 5 times thrown to me a game, but the 1 or 2 times I do, I'm going to have opportunities to be in the end zone. And, it's a fun and wonderful thing when you got a bunch of guys that don't care about the stats. They don't care about the touchdowns. And again, I think throughout practice, we've just had this mindset of like, hey, let's just do things the right way and find ways to win football games. That's what we're doing right now.
How is that not about Stefon Diggs? Is there a way? Is there a way that Josh Allen can say he wasn't talking about Stefon Diggs there? Because he did clarify things yesterday, but group huddle.
It's about Gabe Davis, who also
that would be really funny if it was about Gabe Davis.
About time we got that guy out of here.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe Davis can't catch for save his life, but he wants the ball.
Is he Jacksonville now? Right, yeah. I thought so.
He had 2 catches last week for 8 yards, I think.
Damn.
So
Trevor Lawrence is probably having a tough time.
18 yards.
Davis
Sorry,
right
not
now.
to short you 10 yards, Gabe Davis, but make sure you get the right stats in there. He's 100% talking about Stefon Diggs. Maybe it's a little bit of Gabe Davis too. Like maybe it's just the wide receiver room. Everything is just better. Maybe it's the offensive coordinator change as well, but it sounds 75% at a minimum about Stefon Diggs. That's a direct shot.
I think it's a shot. Is it a shot, Sean?
I think yes. If you're a NFL quarterback, you know how to say something without say something. Like he has been answering questions long enough to where it's not like, whoops, I wasn't being clear. It's like, no, that's about how NFL quarterbacks will take shots at people. Other than, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers sometimes will take a more direct shot than that, but this is about as direct as it gets for an NFL quarterback.
He had an incredible game. This was right after the 47-10 win over the Jaguars. And he credited his teammates there for sure. But it did feel like that is him thinking about what he had last year in the back of his mind. The Bills have been a lot better since they stopped featuring Stefon Diggs. This is not debatable. They were 6-6 last year. I think they won the last 5 games, go into the playoffs, gave the Chiefs a challenge. Stefon Diggs drops a pass down the right sideline. And here we are with Stefon Diggs now in Houston. Josh Allen yesterday attempted to clarify what he said about receivers who appreciate winning, not piling up statistics.
And I know there's a lot of people talking out there. Again, I'm not trying to tear down anybody. I've loved everybody that I've played with. And you don't have to tear other people down to build each other up. And, we're building each other up right now, and that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to stay together as a team, and we're really caring about each other. And, everybody in this building's got that feeling. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Whether it's former players, and again, I love 14. I still do. But everyone wants to keep making this thing a thing, and we're so focused on what's going on inside of our building, and that's the only thing that we're caring about right now.
Well, yeah, everyone wants to make it a thing.
You made it a thing.
You made it a thing.
You made it a thing.
And the drama in between the games in the NFL, it's good. It's not NBA level, but it's good. And everyone wants to know about what the hell happened there. Why did things not work out with Stefon Diggs and the Bills? Why did he want to leave? Why are the Bills better without him? All interesting questions. Allen is 100% allowed to say what he said on Monday. Because guess what? The Bills' offense is looking better without Diggs. I think that the Bills needed Diggs for Josh Allen to get to the level he's at now, but now they no longer need him. And this is one of those things where I bring it back to this offseason, why I was pushing back on all the people that were saying that the Houston Texans need to get Stefon Diggs for CJ Stroud or need to get Keenan Allen or some of the other wide receivers for CJ Stroud that were on the open market. The quarterback raises the play of the guys around him. And we saw Stroud do that to a degree with some of the receivers he was working with last year. Just once it was just Nico Collins, it got a little bit tough for them to do anything because they couldn't run the football.
Mm-hmm.
So Allen is in a better place without him. Did he need to bring up Stefon Diggs there? Probably not. But he was definitely talking about Stefon Diggs. Was he throwing shade or was he just saying it's better without him? I think it was the latter.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's not like that's why the offense is struggling now. Like, it's not like because Stefon Diggs is here, it's just not working. It's just not working right now. Because we've seen Diggs has gotten his, Nico's gotten his, Tank, they've tried. But now that he's hurt, like it hasn't worked quite yet. But I can't wait for next week already. Like, you don't think Stefon Diggs catches a touchdown pass from CJ Stroud here in Houston and doesn't run down the sidelines and say something to the Buffalo Bills? Like, it's going to be chirpy for sure. Like, that's one of the more intriguing things we'll see, because that's really when we'll really know. Like, how do they act on the field when Diggs does something good in that game? Like, what is his response? Because that might be the only time we hear from him, because we don't hear from Diggs much. He doesn't really talk to the media. Like, even after games, like, I feel like he's not readily available very often. So I wish we could get a comment from Diggs. I'm just, kind of curious what he would have to say, but it's definitely a shot at him. And we're not the ones continuing it. Like, they are.
More on the Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen drama. You want to hear a little Stephen A?
Of course.
So Stephen A, I think this was on Tuesday, after Josh Allen and the Bills smoked the Jaguars, made it seem like Stefon Diggs has to answer this in some way, shape, or form. Here is old Screaming A. Smith.
If Stefon Diggs, I know you hear this, Stefon Diggs, you know who you are. You heard what that man said. Now, somehow, some way, you got to respond. And by the way, it can't be with just 164 receiving yards in 3 games. You got to respond on the field, because it ain't just about reminding the world like Swagoo did what y'all did when y'all were together, you and Josh Allen. Josh Allen is basically saying, yo, look at who I am now. Let me throw this out to you, Shay Shay. Passer rating leads the NFL. QBR leads the NFL. Total touchdowns leads the NFL. 0 interceptions and 75% completions, ranks a second only to Jaden Daniels. That's Josh Allen right now. Last night, he completes footballs to 10 different receivers, including Kincaid, Coleman, Shakur, Johnson. What he's saying is, y'all thought we were going to be worse because we lost an all-world receiver. I'm going to tell you how I interpreted it. Life is better because y'all have no idea the damn headache I was dealing with. That's what he was saying. Now, we can floss over it anyway. That's what he was saying. So Stefon is going to have to respond with his play on the field, but also defending himself. Because as I remember, Shannon last year, Swagger, you may not remember this. Last year, Shannon, remember when they tried to call me out when I said, yo, the brother won out of Buffalo. Remember when I took heat for that? I said, I'm telling y'all what I know. Don't ask me how. I'm telling you, the brother won out of Buffalo. He gets out. And he's just trying to play PC because you know what? He didn't want to bring that extra heat to himself. I told y'all what was going down. You see it for yourself.
Rack him.
I mean, Stefon Diggs had 10 catches for 94 yards last weekend. I know the Texans lost. He has a game where he has 2 touchdown receptions so far this season. Like, is he putting up the flashiest, splashiest numbers? No. But he's doing just fine. Like, I have no complaints about how Stefon Diggs has played so far through 3 weeks as a Houston Texan. So I guess, but according to Stephen A. Smith, what does Diggs have to do now this weekend? $150, 2 touchdowns?
Diggs
is that how he responds?
Doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't. But I wonder if in his mind, he realizes this.
Probably. Like probably a little bit. I mean, it's not that it feels over the top, but I mean, it's so hard because everything we heard about Diggs before the season and what we've seen on the field as a teammate, so on the sidelines as well, like we saw him trying to pump up guys in the last game. We saw in the preseason having, it looked like very good conversations. All the reports out of practice throughout training camp and everything is how great of a teammate he's been. They named him a captain. Like, nothing you've heard about Stefon Diggs, the Buffalo Bill, the Minnesota Viking, equals what we've seen here in Houston. So I also agree. Like he doesn't have to respond, but it would be fun to see him have a massive game this weekend.
Well, it has to be against the Bills. What he does this weekend does not matter at all.
I was going to point that out.
That's
that
true.
they don't actually they play the Bills next week. Now, I think we kind of just want to fast forward to the Bills game because that's just much more interesting of a matchup, especially with Josh Allen saying what he said. But yeah, that they do play the Jags this week. I don't know if balling out against the Jags and then following it up with 3 catches for 21 yards against the Bills. Like, I don't think that's the statement made that Stephen A has in mind.
Yeah, I mean, even if the Texans win by 20 points this weekend, like I don't think like on the Monday talk shows they're going to be Texans are back.
It'll be do it against the Bills. It'll be do it against the Bills. That's what it'll be.
Yeah, that's why, like Paul said earlier, this game's a little bit of a lose-lose situation.
It's 100% a lose-lose situation. And my big question is about how things are handled. I don't know if the Texans locker room was open, if Stefon Diggs made himself available, and I don't know if it's going to happen today, but I do wonder if local media is going to actually, one, have an opportunity to ask Stefon Diggs about this, and 2, if Stefon Diggs would answer the question. If he does answer the question, Diggs should say Jacksonville, 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 Jacksonville. Don't talk about your ex. It's never worth it.
Yeah, wait till get past Jacksonville, and then because he'll have to meet with the media next week. I'm sure he'll do a conference call with Buffalo media next week that they'll do on the phone. So like there'll be some kind of conversation that happens next week. You're right. This week it doesn't matter. Like it really, and honestly, like for Diggs, the Texans, none of this stuff matters. It does not matter what Josh Allen thinks about how much better things were. The only thing that matters for the Houston Texans is getting back on a winning way against a bad football team. A team that you should be much better than.
Should.
Should.
But we'll see. We'll see.